Why is talk therapy not enough? Now, I'm not going to diss all those amazing therapists out there, and you might be one of them listening right now, who does such amazing work, and you are so much there for your client. You're giving them unconditional positive regard, you're really listening, you're really reflecting about what they need, you're really holding space for them, and that's amazing. And absolutely there's a place for us to think things through, if you like. We have a lot going on in our heads, and yes, it's good to sort of lay things out, but there's a point when it's just not enough, because sometimes stuff is there that we can't even physically verbalize. We can't even express what it is that's bothering us. Perhaps we can't quite explain why we're confused or why we're feeling empty. They're all just sensations. Now, another thing about the talk therapy is that if you are a client and you've had therapy, perhaps you've had years of it, you're actually a therapist yourself because you've had years of therapy. Often we are, right? We teach what we know from what we need, from what we've learnt. And if you have a therapist, what makes you gravitate towards one therapist more than another? Probably they understand you more. Probably they get you. Maybe they're better listeners. Maybe you feel safer with them. Maybe you feel that they're more compassionate to your concerns. All of those are somatic experiences. If a therapist is a good listener, maybe they have a calm presence. Maybe they give you really a calm, clear and undivided attention. Maybe you feel this empathy, this warmth emanating from them because their hearts are open to you. Whereas a therapist that you don't quite resonate with, they're not actually listening. You feel that they're a little bit closed off to you. You feel that they don't quite get you, they don't understand you, and they might even be trying to enforce their opinions and ideas on you, right? So they're closed, they're not open to you, and their way of facilitating the session means that you start to close as well. You close down, and it soon spirals and goes downhill. So even in talk therapy, there's a real embodied presence about how to hold space, about how to be received, how to give. We know as a client, if we're going into a session, if we like the therapist, we're going to look forward to it, we're going to feel we're going to get a lot out of it, our bodies are more relaxed, we feel more open. If we're going to these sessions because we feel we have to, or someone's prescribed it, or whatever, and we're not quite sure about this therapist, already before we even step foot in the room, there's this kind of tension, there's this holding back, right? That's a somatic experience. So part of why somatic dance, not talking therapy, because whatever's going on for us in our lives, it's not just a thing that we have to rationalize. It's not just a thing that we have to put into boxes and compartmentalize and organize until it makes sense logically. Whatever's going on for us in our lives is affecting us on a deep level, and it's affecting us emotionally. It's inevitable. And when we're affected emotionally, how does that affect us? If we're feeling down, if we've got grief, our whole bodies might be contracted over. We might have numbed. Perhaps we don't feel that much anymore, and then on top of that, we might suddenly get these waves of grief that emerge. Or if we're just sad, we might just have this dense energy, this depression, this energy that doesn't shift. And everything feels heavy, and our body will completely reflect that. Our activity or lack of it, the way we move ourselves, the way we respond to things, the way we receive people, that will be affected by what we're feeling. If we're feeling anger, this rage can give us the most incredible energy that you wouldn't even know that you had, but you are so angry, you're so fueled with emotion. You have this fierceness of a tiger or a lion. That's how people win wars. That's how, great destruction happens. We might have anger about the way our planet is being treated. We might have anger about the systems that we live in. We might have so much rage and anger about all these things. All that frustration, all that tension, all that fire in us has to go somewhere. And talking it out isn't going to cut it. It just ain't going to do it. It's not going to work. And then if we have joy, which we wouldn't really need to go to a therapist for, but you know, when we have joy, we feel so expansive, we feel so light, we feel so energized, we have all these ideas, we feel so inspired. Anything seems possible when we're happy, right? So given all these emotions that affect us on a bodily level, if we're feeling anxious, you know, or if we're feeling fearful, we start grinding our teeth, or our jaw locks, or our neck tightens, our shoulders tighten, our breath shortens. Everything affects us on a physiological basis, which is why by dropping into our body, we shift that energy. We shift the tension. We shift our movement. We unlock, we unlearn patterns that we've learned over the years of protection from fear, or, you know, from threats. Over the years, we've accumulated these patterns and ways of being. And when we drop into our bodies and move, we can start to find new ways. It's like a total release. It's an unlearning. And sometimes it's just a way that we can process things that actually words and thoughts and logic aren't going to work, as I said before. So I can give you a couple of examples from my personal experience. One time I was in a dance movement therapy session as a client years ago, before I realised I wanted to study it. Well, I was thinking about it. Anyway, I was feeling confused, really confused about something. And when I danced and moved, all I could do was just keep moving round and round and round in this circle. What was interesting about it was that it made me realise that things just had to keep going that way until it became clearer. That was the answer for me at that time. Instead of trying to work it out and reasoning out, I just knew I had to keep moving until eventually that circle would change shape. And when I was ready to move out of that circular motion, I was ready to start a new direction. Another time when I was dancing and I was feeling confused, lots going on, and I was doing this dance and I was literally becoming this kind of like spaghetti. I remember thinking I'm like spaghetti junction. So many permutations, ways to unravel, ways I could be, so many possibilities and options. And you keep moving and you keep moving and you keep moving until eventually something starts to break, literally something starts to shift. It's like there's an opening. There's a way of being and of seeing that wasn't apparent before. That's what can happen through movement and dance. That's the beauty and the magic of it. Another aspect of the way we are as humans is that we're not often given permission to just be vocal, to fully express ourselves. Now, we can go to a therapy session, even then we're going to hold back, possibly. Chances are, if we're absolutely being enraged, we're not going to go to our therapist enraged, screaming and shouting and swearing at the top of our voices. We would have done that first, perhaps, right? Before we go to the therapist to then try to be more reasonable, explain what's bothering us. I mean, the anger might come up, but it won't be quite the same. But how often are you given the permission fully to just scream, to just cry, to just let it all out, especially in Western culture with grief, you know? A lot of the time people don't even contact us if we're grieving, you know? Maybe we just need a place to scream and shout and cry, which in some cultures there are. Grief tending ceremonies, which are very beautiful. When we're angry, you know, maybe we just need to go and have a punch bag and just punch it out with a pillow and just do that, or go to somewhere where no one can hear us, so that we can scream at the top of our voices. And maybe there's nowhere that we can do that. So what's happened is that there are also therapies that mean that you can just scream at the top of your lungs. You can just laugh for no reason. You can just cry. You know, all these different kinds, they've become labels. And there are some therapy centres that do this. But it's like we have to be given the permission first. Everything has to have a label. that's the beauty of dropping back into our bodies and moving. That's the beauty and the honesty of being in our bodies, because our body has everything. Our bodies doesn't have labels. This is before this came in and created the labels. Everything is there in our bodies. When we allow ourselves to express from our bodies, it's from that deeper place of truth and that deeper place of knowing that doesn't need permission. It just is. You're allowing yourself to just be, and that's the beauty of it. And so I invite you to give yourself permission to be more of you this year. And if you would like to explore more how you can be more expressive, be able to express what you're feeling, be held in that space, be accepted, be received, not be judged, to feel safe, to feel liberated, join me January 20th to the 22nd. Reclaim Your Creative Power Somatic Dance series. It's totally free. It'd be great to have you. Let's make this year one where you are fully yourself in all your beautiful power and glory.